Okay, am I online? Should be online. Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening. Apa khabar semua? Siapa online? I have few, I have few people who are. I think people are online. Thank you for joining. Seriously, every time aku go online, I always assume tak ada orang akan. Nobody's going to join. That's my macam defensive mode lah. So I don't get, kan macam semangat nak go online, nak berbual tapi tak ada orang tengok kan. So macam ni tak ada orang, then you get really demotivated. But I think the fact is that macam okay, niat kan nawai tu dia, niat tu is just me, kau, my wife aja, ingat orang lain. Okay, tak apa, at least ada orang. Lepas tengok, why you online? You're not supposed to be online. I don't like you online. Nanti you very judgy person. Ni macam you nak censor everything I say here. Nevertheless, what I was saying. Oh, yeah. So, okay, which brings to a point that I personally I don't like recorded videos. Not like I don't, tak pandai lah. I'm not really proficient at like looking into a camera and then recording and then editing. I used to do it. The last time I did it, I have to abide by a script, and then abiding by a script is not really my style. Susah. I kena hafal, then I do retakes. Tahu salah, then retake. Going online is like teaching, I guess so. I just berbual aja. The problem is that people with really bad, very low attention span will get really bored. Siapa dia ni membibil? Get to the point. What are you saying? So macam, right, ni macam penat tunggu apa dia nak cakap ni kan. So that is the problem with live streams, I guess. Right, you are not patient. Waalaikumsalam. Yes. Kalau ada masa, we can talk about Spurs. Spurs, Alhamdulillah, managed to secure 4th place. Okay, as I was saying, ni yang problem dengan live stream. I get really distracted easily. I macam nak comment to what people say, and then like I forgot my train of thought, which is almost like classes. Like ni mengajar, dia orang tanya soalan, then you forget where you were actually saying, what point were you at, and then you suddenly digress, and then you have to ask students, where was I? Macam gitulah. Right. So to my point is that I don't like recorded videos, mainly because of I don't like to memorize scripts. That's all. Yeah, live stream you can just berbual macam kelas lah. Yeah, but you have the right to listen and not to listen, nak pay attention and not to pay attention, and that's on you. Okay, so apa aku nak cakap? Oh yeah. Realizing that I'm still sick is really a bad idea going online sekarang. I'm trying refraining myself from batuk-batuk and sesama. Yeah, and COVID is really weird. Initially, myself and Nakia, my wife, we have a notion, we believe that we are immune to COVID. People around us has been affected by COVID. And then macam last time jalan raya, last week week kan. Then we went out, and then mother-in-law kena, brother-in-law kena, sister-in-law kena, and a lot of people kena close to us, and we were with them jalan raya. Then we check lah. Kita check kita yang COVID ni negatif twice. Macam buang duit kan, sayang kan benda tu kan. Kan that art test. What is ART? Something test kan. So it couldn't be called art test. That's redundant, repetitive. So that art tinggi kan. So we decided not to. Then kebetulan hari was Saturday night. I couldn't sleep. Throat was really sakit lah. Memang sakit. So the morning check was positive. Kebetulan pagi tu dah ada open house. So I jemput Sabrina isi lah. Jemput Sabrina, Azfar pun di sini. Yeah. And itulah. Yeah. It's fine. I mean, semua orang kat sini. Antigen rapid test. Thank you so much. So ARTS. So you couldn't say it art test. You say art test, then what we are implying is antigen rapid test. Macam malam Lailatul Qadar kan. Malam is malam, Laila is malam, so malam Qadar doesn't make sense. It does make sense, it's just redundant. Yeah. So I gonna my wife pun she's not negative. No, she's not positive. Sorry, she's not positive, but she has exhibited symptoms of having COVID. And so kita decided not to isolate. Our only problem were the cats. I think my wife did ask around dekat Instagram, what should we do? Like, should we isolate them? Can we be in contact with them? What is the maximum available or maximum distance that it could be? Could we speak to them? And then macam orang biasa lah. Yeah, that was our only concern. Besides that, everything is fine, alhamdulillah lah. Should be okay. Right. So I have my, ada apa ni? I have my ni pun ni Sabrina yang kasih coconut. So we have coconut tu teman. Right. Okay, so I mean today actually nak cakap pasal academy. My main point that we wanted to share, it was more sharing. I really want this to be out there. There's no formal or official statement regarding the academy and where we are right now. So since I've been doing this, I said, okay lah, share lah, and it'll be online. So whenever people nak refer and see where we are, what we are doing, what's the progress, what's the next step, so on and so forth. And there's a video that anyone could actually refer to. Okay, so this tonight, just sekejap je, sembang sekejap, tak lama lah, 8:30 paling-paling pun. I just wanted to share about the academy. Before that, okay, as far, yes, okay lah, I mean, Liverpool still has the Champions League. I mean, and to be fair, it was a very good race. It was, I mean, either one of them, City or even Liverpool, deserve. Even if Liverpool menang, they deserve it. And Manchester City won, man, they deserve it. I mean, 93 and 92 points is unbelievable. It's something that you could not even think about when it comes to a title race. So, I mean, tak rugilah mana-mana. But since Asfa is here, from a Spurs perspective, from a Spurs fan, I have to put it out there. Kena cakap. I think we contributed to your downfall. Because of that draw, Liverpool dropped points. So I would like to take this moment to apologise to all Liverpool fans out there. Yeah, Spurs messed up your title race. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I nak cakap semalam waktu tu pergi Instagram ni, takut semua most of my friends Liverpool fans wanted to put it out there saying that sorry, we messed it up for you guys. Yep. It was because of us that you guys lost the title. Yep. Nevertheless, thank you so much. Hide, congrats on Champions League qualification. It's good to be back. How far we'll go in the league, Champions League, tak tahu macam mana. We look at how we progress and then the signings that Conte will make next season. If we manage to back Conte well, it's positive. It's very positive. Kalau tak, sama lah, Spurs is in the loop lah. Pusing, we'll fight for 4th Champions League. Winning the league, I don't think so. Most probably next year, Chelsea would strengthen, Liverpool would definitely strengthen. Not to belittle Man U, but Man U is most probably they would do everything in their power to get back where they were before, although it's quite impossible. We are putting a lot of expectations on Ten Hag. Apa nama Ten Hag nama dia? Macam aku nak pronounce nama dia. Yeah, but it's every year macam gitu, right? So Spurs will be in the loop lah. Tengok macam mana. Okay. So where can I see? Okay, right. Any comments? Anything you wanna ask before we proceed? I hope everybody is okay. I hope everybody is doing well. Aku sakit-sakit ni. I minta doa lah. Everyone who is online, for myself and Sis Nakia. It's okay. My paling teruk is malam. As in during the day, I guess baring tak rasa sakit sangat. It's bearable. I could go through the motions during the day. I mean, I could function lah. I mean, walaupun tak 100%, but 20%, 30% could function. But malam nanti bila nak tidur, then the joint sakit, I get really chesty, sakit tekak, sore throat, then demam dia rabak and susah nak tidur. So malam je. I don't know why. Manchester City have Haaland next season. Itulah that's the thing. Manchester City has all the resources to reinforce, and that is why they have won 4 titles in the past 5 years. It's because of that. Basically, they have the resources to strengthen. Which teams before that tak mampu. I mean, menang, lepas tu dorang tak reinforce, dorang tak reinvest. They do not put much effort into solidifying what they already have. And that's the same with Spurs lah. Spurs dulu macam gitu. When we were in a pole position to fight for the title, where we were finalists in the Champions League, the next year they didn't reinforce. In fact, and we lost a lot of players, we sold a lot of players. There was a season where Spurs tak beli langsung anyone. So I think that seems to be the Magnus Opum, whereby whenever if you want to retain a season, retain a title, or be in a position where you are, teams need to strengthen. They need to invest or reinvest. Yeah, that seems to be the notion current days lah. Okay, right. So berapa 9 orang. Thank you so much for joining. I want to say again, thank you so much for joining today punya live stream session. Before I continue, I just wanted to say that I decided to name our live streaming sessions for now as Almost Alive. Nampak tak kat situ? I think it's mentioned there, Almost Alive. It's from my Instagram page, my photography Instagram page. Ni account YouTube ni pun it's Almost Jeffrey. So semua ada that almost thingy. Right, so I decided to use the it's not the word play pun, Almost Alive. So it's almost a live stream because bukanlah live stream sangat pun. Kalau live stream orang datang tengok 20, 100 orang, yang ni berapa orang je kan. And on top of that, I pun almost alive, half alive and half almost dead. Tak bermaya ni orang. Which comes to my point. So this tonight, I just wanted to share about the progress for the academy. I think this might be of some interest to some, especially those of you who are online. So for those of you who are wondering, the recent progress of the academy is that we are planning to move back to Arab Street. Okay, we are planning to move back to Arab Street. Not specifically Pahang Street, but anywhere around around the location, anywhere around the vicinity, that area. And the reason is more important than the decision. So if you go back a few months back, Spurs almost champion. Almost, yeah. That seems to be the mantra for Spurs. Almost champion. We get trophies for participation. We got trophies. Recently, we won the award. Spurs won the award for the most eco-friendly stadium. Yes. So we won worthless awards yang tak ada apa-apa manfaat langsung terhadap bola sepak. Right. So we get excited when Son got best, dapat he won Golden Boot last year. I think it was Kane. I think he won both assists and also goal, the Golden Boot award. Kita menang itulah. Yeah. So Spurs should be called Almost Spurs, right? In commemoration to myself. Almost, semua benda almost. Separuh masak. Okay, Academy News. Lama dah cakap. Academy News. That's the reason why we are here. Sebelum aku merepek. Academy News. Okay, so let's go back. And I think it's a very good point of discussion for all of you who are here. I mean, if you like to chip in, because there are a few things that I need feedback from. all of you, and this is more of a social commentary, an assessment of what is happening around. So if you go back a few months ago, I think not early this year, yeah, I think let's go back to early this year. Right. The problem with the academy and why we decided to move was simply because we were not getting a lot of students joining us in our online classes. That was the root of our demise, so-called demise. Downfall lah, demise dia terlampau drastic sangat kan. Dramatic sangat demise. Ada downfall. Okay. And we realized that we were not getting numbers, we were not getting students to join us in our online classes, because when we move out of Pahang Street and we move into Oxley Biz Hub, which is at Tai Seng, MacPherson, our focus were on online classes, right? So that was back then during the CB, and then the heightened alert, apa-apa nama-nama. Who came up with all these names macam, you know, the Malay version of like CB and then circuit breaker lah. It's really weird kan. Pemutus apa? Pemutus apa yang Melayu punya nama? Meripik betul bahasa Melayu ni kan. Okay. Jangan digress je. I was saying, so we noticed that I think students were getting less and less interested. They were disinterested with joining online classes. That was one of the hypotheses. Okay, we could also, I would say, pinpoint to other factors regarding to the growth of the academy or the lack of it. The academy, to maybe the topics, they were not stimulating. Pemutus rangkaian. Yes, pemutus rangkaian. What's the Melayu here? But thank you, Salman. Salman is here. Thank you for joining. Allah. Thank you so much for all of you who join. Nama orang-orang hebat-hebat pula masuk dalam ni, aku paiseh pula ni kena berbual macam ni, meripik-meripik ni. But actually I do enjoy orang-orang macam Salman is someone who's very I mean I know him. He's very prominent within the academic and dakwah scene. So I might have some views from people. So we were noticing that we were not being able to sustain the number of students online. And this was done, and we concluded, and it was not because of a very good research, but we concluded that the very fact that people were getting fatigued studying online. Ini tak tahu betul ke tak? That was the general sentiment. Can we be proven through facts and statistics? Tak tahu, but we felt, okay, and the word felt itself is unacademic, kan? We felt that the reason why we were not being able to retain the number of students was due to fatigue. Studying online, macam inilah, tengok video and then can be, I would say, non-productive, isn't stimulating enough for students. And we were noticing that. On top of that, if you could put another reason to it, is maybe the topics. We were notoriously known to put quite heavy academic topics. And on top of that, being online, the inability to engage, the inability to properly convey the information in a more conducive manner, i.e. physical classes, that contributes to, I would say, the lack of students, right? So our numbers were dwindling. They were dwindling really, really bad. Now, let me digress a bit, okay? Because I want to contradict myself. Before we continue, I was going through online, and then I noticed this. Okay, 70% of students prefer some courses be fully online post-pandemic. So I was doing a bit of research regarding online classes when it comes to university, college, Singaporean classes, academic classes, or education classes generally in Singapore and other parts of the world. We begin to realize that certain groups of students prefer classes to be online. So I'm going to contradict myself a bit here, especially the younger generation. Now, based upon our experience, because we started hybrid classes, and we noticed quite a similar trend. My father, he conducts a class at the Academy Kuliah Keluarga, and classes dia generally is attended by students which are generally 40 and above. 40 and above. Biasa dah ada family, dah ada anak-anak dah besar, dah ada cucu even. Right? And we realize that dorang punya semangat, their motivation to attend physical classes is far greater as compared to the younger generations. And we could do that comparison quite vividly, especially on Sundays. Sundays pagi kita ada CWG, okay, which is conducted by my brother. And again, CWG conversations we've got historically has been attended by the younger generation. As much as banyak family yang datang, is being attended by families, but it's of the younger generation. Sabrina datang CWG Sunday mornings, and it's a younger generation. Whereby petang lepas asar is my father's kuliah keluarga, and we could see quite a starking contrast. Pagi-pagi yang morning classes CWG is usually attended by paling banyak kita dapat was 15, I think 15 or 16. We could fit around almost 25. Right, and that is a modest number. We could fit around 25 plus, maximum 30. Although kita at that moment in time before semua dilonggarkan, the SOP was being there's a more leniency regarding the SOP. We do not want to exceed more than 30, but now dah boleh. But even given the capacity to accept a larger group of students, in the morning, during the CWG class, on an average, we only have around 10. On an average, I think roughly around 10. Tak banyak. There were times where we only had 3 or 4 or 5. Right? There were just a few. As compared to my father's session, which is after Asar, his classes full. I mean, the total accommodation, the total number of seats that we could accommodate with that current space, our current space, it was filled up, okay, full. And dorang nak bawa anak-anak, I mean, like toddlers and young people. Though we have certain reservations regarding that, but nevertheless, the point that I wanted to say was that they were far more motivated and excited to attend physical classes. And this study seems to be the root of the whole issue. That I believe that the younger generation feel a bit more accommodated. They are, bahasa kasar dia manja. And if you want to do a cross comparison between studying online and work from home, I think we could also extract similar parallels, kan? Again, there was a recent study. I mean, I malas nak search. I could just search here, but there was a recent study proved that although initially people dreaded working from home, but as time passes by, Singaporeans especially realized that there were certain benefits that they could get from working from home that they could never get if they were to be in offices. And so even realized that people dreaded going back to offices. They feel that working from home is far more productive and efficient. Again, this is room for argument and debate. Guess I'm just throwing around facts, statistics and numbers and just certain things that we could consider. But that seems to be the general notion, right? Kalau orang suka work from home, we could also conclude and extrapolate from that orang pun suka belajar from home, right? But again, that study for me personally only encapsulates a particular group of people, which I conclude saying that the younger generations, whereby the older generations, and we are speaking about religious classes, they will be more inclined to attend physical classes. My father is testament and proof of that. Dia cakap bila dia start balik mengajar dekat Al-Khair, dia dah mengajar balik kat Masjid Ma'ruf, again his classes were attended by the seniors, it's full. And kebanyakan, and he used this term, dia cakap orang-orang yang bakal jenazah. He always use that term, bakal jenazah. Maksudnya orang-orang tua lah. Dia kata kelas dia yang datang kebanyakannya orang-orang yang bakal jenazah. So that's where we are at. So I just wanted you to understand the circumstances, the situation that we're in. So we at the academy, we were noticing a decline. And here's the contradiction. The contradiction is that we assume that it was due to fatigue. But statistics proves that, well, people seem to incline or be inclined, students are inclined towards online classes. Proof of fact, and this is testament to saying that people still enjoy classes, religious classes online, is other asatizas. Okay, asatizas. And this is just something I just wanted to put it out there, just something that people need to think about, especially for the academy ourselves. And this seems to be the trend in da'wah scene nowadays, that most asatizas are more comfortable doing their da'wah as individuals, as it was contrary to how it was before. Perasan tak? Dulu, for example, when you look at institutions, for example, more established institutions such as, and we're talking about private institutions, we're not talking about mu'iz or mosques, right? We look at, for example, Safina, right? When Safina prospered, we realized that Islamic institutions seems to be the platform, the place where we get Islamic knowledge. And then the concept of an institution is mainly that we have a platform, where that platform provides an array, a plethora of instructors, and with the instructors, an array, a plethora, a good number of topics that covers a huge spectrum of the Islamic academia. Kan? That's the case, right? So dulu kalau itu Safina, ada Ustaz Mizi, Ustaz Zaliana, it was the old school, Ustaz Fiza, Ustaz Nodorus was usually there, my brother, myself, all of us, I mean most of us, those who were inclined towards English as their medium of communication, most of us started dekat Safina. And people were enticed, were attracted to that notion where we have one body, we have one institution, one platform that promises and a huge collage of not just topics but also individuals. And that's when you slowly see other institutions and platforms, kan? You see macam apa ya? Aku dah lupa. Banyak sangat dah tak ada. For me to get an example pun susah. I mean, I wanted to quote Yamin, but again, Yamin sekarang pun Ustaz Adiho dengan Ustazah Hairun Nisa, they dah tak ada banyak sangat choice. There's not much choices. Siapa lagi? Ada institutions ni, aku ni dah out of touch ke apa ni? My point my point is that there was the case back then. I would say maybe 10 years ago, that was the trend. But as time passes by, the asatizas realized that they could maximize and be more efficient if they run their da'was as individuals. They themselves set a platform, they set a system around their own name as their own branding, and they could maximize as much as possible all the available assets and resources around themselves. So hence, you say, for example, you have Ustaz Aliana, right? And then susah sikit nak cari dia panggil orang lain, he just himself. Recently, Ustaz Mizi, as much as, I mean, Safina is still available and still running, he himself as a person, as a brand, is much more received, is much more, for back of that word, popular than Safina. I mean, if you even compare Safina punya Instagram followers to his own followers and his own, I would say, classes, projects as compared to Safina, I would say Ustaz Mizi is far more successful currently as compared to Safina. Right? I might be wrong. I'm just putting it out there, right? But we notice a trend. A good example which is close to us is Ustazah Shamim. Ustazah Shamim is a good, for me, it's a good indicator of how well personal brandings work, and also how online classes are still relevant to a certain group of people. Because once she like totally put herself out there, right? She rebrands herself as a single focal institution where she is the face of it, she is the name of it. She prospers. I mean, her online classes could could have more than 500 students. And this goes to all the other individual asatizas running individual platforms. This goes to Ustaz Aliana or Ustaz Misi Wahid or Ustaz Tamliha or any other asatizas currently doing that. So I personally noticed the shift. I noticed the shift whereby current asatizas are more comfortable running themselves personally as a personal individual brand. Yes, and they market. It's easy for you to market yourself as compared to market an entity, to market an institution, to market an academy. It's easier because you set your personal brand. People know who you are and what you bring to the table. But for the academy, for example, an institution, we need to define one focal point. We need to define what is our niche, what is our brand. Okay, and on top of that, you have to put everybody under that institution, which follows that similar branding, and that's to me the problem. I'm not talking about profit wise. We talk about. We talk about profitability, okay, financial gains. Working alone makes more sense. Okay, this is a taboo topic. I don't want to talk about it. It wasn't part of our discussion. Malam ni. But if you conduct a class under an institution or an academy, the funds are to be distributed among yourself, the instructor, and also the place where you teach, because there are overheads running. But if you do it alone, then whatever funds that you see goes to you 100%. There are administrative costs, so on and so forth, overheads and whatnot. But then again, when you look at it from a financial standpoint, working alone or individually running your own personal brand makes more sense monetarily, financially. Okay. Aku tak tahu kenapa aku berbual pasal ni tiba-tiba. What was my point? Oh yeah, my point was that there is also a shift of the trend whereby asatizas prefer to brand themselves individually than to, bahasa Melayu dia menempel. To menempel lah. They don't want the middleman. As Asfa kata sini. Although that's a marketing taboo, I could dispel that notion easily because there's no such thing as a middleman. But nevertheless, the concept applies. Okay, rather than you menempel, you restrict yourself, right, to a medium. Right? Why not you yourself run it so you could maximize the profitability? Ni benda ni tak boleh cakap kat luar lah. I pun tak nak cakap kat luar pun. But that is the reality that it is today. So, academy, right? Going back to the academy, we are facing those problems. It's getting difficult to get online students. It's difficult to retain students, and it's difficult to run as an institution because we are losing teachers. Asatizas generally prefer to run their classes individually. So you understand the predicament that we were at, right? And personally, I was to a point. I would not know if I could say this, but there was a point whereby I almost wanted to say, wanted to say to my wife and my brother that tutup sudah lah. I was on the verge of saying that tutup. Yeah. But I just wanted to put this out there that my wife and Ustaz Taufik, dorang punya semangat berjuang ni memang kuat. Memang kuat. So they feel that the academy still has a role to play. There is still a niche focus area where the academy still is relevant, and not just relevant, that we are necessary within the sphere of Islamic da'wah in Singapore. Or maybe Umar Jeffrey is not teaching anymore. Manalah, tak ada lah. But having said that, speaking about the academy lah, because you're talking about the academy kan, I would dare say that the ones who are keeping it alive is my wife and Ustaz Taufik lah, my brother. Ever since not being able to teach at the academy, I've lost a lot of motivation. Not just in life, almost alive sekarang kan. not just in life, but also at the academy. I just want to say, let's just be honest. I've lost a lot of desire and attachment. Real attachment is the word to the academy. There's no. I've lost a lot of sense of belonging to the academy because I don't contribute much. I just edit the videos. What you see on AQA TV, currently I do that. Even much of planning, scheduling, copywriting is been done by our peers. Right? We have really good staff. We have really got people who worked at the academy and they are passionate about preserving the academy. Aku yang paling tak ada mood. And that's the reason why I macam itulah, and it was because saya tak boleh mengajar lah. I mean, I don't want to divulge too much information kena discuss banyak sangat benda kan, tu benda personal, but yeah, I've lost a lot of passion, not generally, not just in dakwah but also for the academy. So I was very pessimistic with many things going around the academy. But alhamdulillah, I mean, my wife, my brother, they were still strong, and that macam kind of prompted me and motivated me a bit to at least try my very best. If they are doing their very best to protect and maintain the survival of the academy, then I should do my very best to support them juga lah, right? Okay, so that was the predicament, right? The issue was that we were not getting students, we were losing students. It's difficult to retain students, right? And that affected our finances. I mean, if you see here, I mean, Asfa used to work with us, and he was one of the. I mean, we have to let go Razi, we have to let go Lin, we have to let go Asfa. Something that we've never imagined doing. We tried our very best to keep, and these people were tremendous. They were surmountable. They were integral to the academy. And that's why you see sekarang academy lemah, lembik sikit, is because it's difficult to delegate things between the three of us. I mean, we could do it, we are doing it, cuma it's not as efficient, as productive and as impactful as we were before. And then those were the sacrifices we had to do because of the predicament, the situation that we were in. We had to let off a lot of our important stuff, and it was not easy to do that, right? So we were in a bad financial situation, okay, because of all that. So what we decided to do was that let's do what we do best, and we believe that is what we do best, is we need to reinvigorate back physical classes. That was our plan. Now, I have to be honest here, I'm not saying that it is the best plan, okay, but we felt that if we could reignite that experience, we could reinvigorate Al-Qudwa Academy the way we were before, which is to have a space that we call our own. We took pride in that when we established Al-Qudwa Academy. We took pride in what we refer to as the third place. Right? There is a third realm, right? A physical embodiment, a place where it's not your home, it's not your work or your school place, it's somewhere where you feel a sense of solace. You feel a sense of family, you feel a sense of belonging. And that was the academy. So for us, if we could reignite that, which is to have a physical space, okay, as we were before, that would be, from our perspective, that would be beneficial. That would at least alleviate the problem that we have now. So the plan, okay, from there onwards is, okay, we have our contract sampai habis tahun. Okay, we try our very best to terminate our contract early, and then trying to find a space, okay, and then area location wise is also imperative. It's imperative. Why we flourish, I believe, flourish before was simply because the location that we were at was a place which is optimal. I'm talking about Arab Street. Okay, we did Geylang. Geylang was a failure. We tried light industrial area, and again the place was not suitable for classes, not suitable for physical classes. Right, so we feel that the best place, and this is again based upon experience. We've done this many times before. We've experimented with different locations. We felt that Arab Street is the way to go. Before you continue cerita dia, as far as cakap, the idea of online religious learning is almost a bad bid'ah because the tradition of learning has always been about meeting people and learn in person, even travelling, to learn. He continues saying, I just feel like this surge of online learning is going to be bad, that it eventually dies down and people will want to go physical classes again. Okay, and I agree that. I mean, there is a certain level of barakah. I always felt this. I always believe that there is a substantial difference between religious education and non-religious education, spiritual education and profane. I'll use the word profane is an exaggeration, and general education. There will always be, because there has been a segregation. There has always been a segregation. I'm not talking about secular segregation. I'm just speaking about with regards to the priority, the barakah, the importance, priority given towards religious classes as compared to non-religious classes. Again, right? There will always be a dichotomy. There will always be a priority given towards religious classes. And the religious classes, what differentiates it from generally other classes is the barakah. And the barakah that is within religious classes, religious circles, lies in the very fact that we are there physically. We are there with our effort, because part and parcel of religious classes is the effort of going there. There is also this notion of brotherhood. There is always this notion of mentorship and menteeship, whereby you have access to your teachers, and that has been the whole psyche. That has been the whole the experience of religious classes. I mean, you go back to the hadith, siapa jalan nak pergi kelas, kaki kanan pahala, kaki kiri wipe from dosa. I mean, we could apply that. I mean, some people say we could apply well religious classes, online classes pun gitu juga, because you have to pay for internet, you have to have devices and so on and so forth. But then again, nothing is comparable on every level as going to a physical class. So that's what we champion. And we also believe, not from an educational standpoint, from a physical, from an education standpoint, but we also believe that in the near future, everybody will go back to physical classes. Maybe this is just a current, the mood, that current feel or trend whereby online senang lepak kat rumah, ada aircon, boleh minum air. Aku nak tapak kuda tapi tekak aku sakit. Tapak kuda pun sedap juga kan. But it's not spiritually sustainable, if I can put it that way. Online classes are not spiritually sustainable. Short term boleh, and that has been with most non-sustainable means of sustenance. Dia tak lama. You macam for example lah, makan fast food, right? You makan sedap, sedap, kenyang, right? But it's not sustainable in the long run. It will have detrimental effects on your health. Similarly with, I would say, online classes, because we are enjoying it as of the current situation, but long term, it will have detrimental effects on our spirituality, as we are devoid from barakah, we are devoid from meeting our teachers, we are devoid from getting direct interaction and direct experience with knowledge in of itself. Okay, so I agree to bring back physical classes. So that was the point. So also, having said that, I would say that in the near future, everybody go back. Those who were prominent online will realize that people will still want to be or go back to physical classes. And we want to be at the forefront of that. Kita ada tempat. So anybody who decides to hold physical classes, you could do it at our place, as we did before. Kan ada tempat. We host. We are more than honored to host other institutions, other asatizahs. That's what we have been doing. right? So that's what we felt, right? We felt that we need a place to enliven Al-Qudu Academy, bring it back from the dead, okay, re-establish what we are prominent for, known for, and then be the platform for everybody else when everybody realize that, well, physical classes is still the way to go. Ada. Okay, tekak lah kan. Alright. Okay, just before I continue, so cerita belum habis ni baru halfway tu. Nakia, apa kau cakap ni? Can bring pets to the new place. Pancake makes good. Kita dulu ada kucing kat academy kan. Yang kat. But the problem is that the thing with cats is not everybody is accommodating to cats. Kita ingat dulu bila ada kucing, the stray cat, the community cat dekat aLive Sido masuk academy, banyak orang dah bekik-bekik. Nanti myself ke kadang-kadang Razi kena turun ke, kena house shoe kucing tu keluar. Right? So tak tahu if this is good. But I mean, I would love to bring Pancake tempat baru lah. Kalau tempat baru lah. The academy is an economy. I agree that. And that seems to be the best. I mean, I in all honesty, those who know me very well, I whenever we speak about the academy, I refrain from using business terms for dakwah. Macam usually kalau when I speak to certain asatizahs, when they talk about classes, they refer to them as products. Classes are not products. Kena produk macam ni kan. Then the whole notion. I mean, but then again, there are again parallels and similitudes between how people run dakwah and people. But it is we believe that there is, the academy is a library whereby whatever things that we do, business decisions that we do regarding the academy is quite sustainable. A good example is previously dulu when we wanted to open up siapa tu bising? Sushi. Itu sushi. Dia ada problem sikit. Dia ada boyfriend. Dia belum, she's not old enough to be neutered. She's waiting for dia punya date. I think next month. Lepas tu my brother-in-law ada kucing, and kadang-kadang dia hantar kucing di sini lah for us to jaga. Boyfriend dia is one of the kucing. So lately dia tengah gatal. Boyfriend dia semalam dah balik. Semalam, 2 days ago. Semalam, kesakit kan? Kesakit, so kena ambil. So dia tengah cari boyfriend dia. So dia bising sikit. Minta maaf lah. So academy is an economy. As you believe, I believe, I agree wholeheartedly. There are a lot of products. Again, I tak suka word tu, but let's use it lah for ease of communication. There are a lot of products that we could build, okay, around the academy. And we still believe that having a physical place. I'm slurring. Sakit does it affect my speech? Ke dah penat? Aku berapa ni? Aku start pukul dekat 50 minit dah. Aku plan setengah jam je. Okay, Asfa says, okay, if the academy never had a space and was only online, I wouldn't have any friends and I wouldn't have gotten married. Asfa punya his wife ta'aruf kat academy lah. And banyak. I bear testament that the academy is not only a place where people jumpa jodoh, but it is a place where people grow their families. We've seen, tak tahu if Hafiz dengan Mas ada kat sini or anyone else, we've seen a lot of students single, got married, got children, and then the children grow up and we see their progress at the academy. So those are one of the things that we're very fond of, and we realize that we hope that we were an integral part in their development, right? Their social development and spiritual development, that we at least want to contribute to their life. We hope so. Okay. Spiritual sensibility sounds like a nice name. Of course, on Istiqomah. Asfa used to name he used to title. I used to do. That was my previous job scope, was to title classes kat academy, and I did an absurdly notorious job. Ustaz Taufik, my brother, usually tak suka. Whenever I come up with titles and names, he will say that corny gila, cringy gila, doesn't make sense at all. I remember one of my favourite titles was because as much cakap pasal bid'ah tadi kan, when we did an expose on bid'ah, we called it apa, creative liability. We call it creative liability. That was my title, creative liability. Ada titles lah yang meripik-meripik lah. But then it soon fall onto the shoulders of Asfar because he was our copywriter, and he's done a great job. So whenever we throw phrases, yes, sushi, meow, come, cik siapa? No, Coco is not here. Meow meow. Ni waffle. Seorang tengok waffle. Sekejap, waffle. Asal semua orang kat dalam ni. Ni waffle is here. Waffle tu coconut. So that is waffle. Waffle pun nak join juga. Okay, what was I say? Okay. So he's always, I notice Asfar selalu whenever we throw in phrases macam gini, dia cepat pick up because I think it's a job hazard. Whatever, you can use all those terms for classes, right? Right. So going back to waffle. Okay, sit there. Tak kacau. Okay, so that brings us to where we are now. Okay, so we were adamant on moving out. Okay, kita dah KOC. Okay, tak apa. Walaupun end of this year, kita punya contract, we'll try to negotiate a way where we could terminate early as soon as possible because kita dah, waffle. Okay, sit down. Dia suka pijak keyboard. I don't know why dia pijak keyboard ni. Waffle. Ni sushi, nampak? Macam sushi. Wait. Sushi. Sushi. Dah semua dah datang dah. So as I was saying, so we were adamant in trying to keluar as soon as possible so we could establish our initial plan, right? So our contract was supposed to end dekat our current space dekat Tai Seng ni was supposed to end end of this year. So we tried to negotiate a deal where we could terminate the contract early, expedite our contract. So the agent cakap okay. As long as they would find a replacement tenant, they would find a tenant that would replace our space, then we could move out. Okay. The problem is that we underestimate the how quick we estimate the speed of how the agents looked for the new tenants. Because from what we came to know, tempat kita ni ramai orang nak. And then again, this is in line with the current state or situation that Singapore in. People semua dah balik office, so they wanted a good office space. And our space is good as an office, as a production studio. Our office is quite efficient. It's very conducive. It's a good place to run a production in office space or production space. It's very good. But again lah, to hold physical classes, the location memang tak tu. So we underestimated the efficiency of the agent, and dia cakap, and it was just a few days ago, dah ada orang interested and they are willing to sign the TA, terms and agreement punya contract. And what we received, and it was quite recent, my brother pun baru tadi message tu dia cakap that we need to finalize because we need to move out of Tai Seng, Oxley Business Hub by the 15th of June. We have to move out, to clear by 15th of June. That's good news because kita plan nak keluar awal, but the problem is that kita belum dapat tempat dekat Arab Street. That's the problem. It's getting really difficult, susah Arab Street. We were offered the best. Asif, kita apalah kasih chance lah orang-orang Liverpool. Although ni Spurs je platform ni, I'm looking for Spurs fans. Tak ada Spurs fans kat sini tapi tak apalah. I pernah cakap dulu, I am a closeted Liverpool fan. I appreciate what Liverpool has done. Not just the style that they play. I also appreciate the management system, which is something that should be replicated. I tak berapa suka Manchester City and how they run first four. With regards to macam tadi I think someone mentioned about Hide tadi mention about Halan and going to City. I mean, City is just spending. I mean, kalau Pep tak dapat siapa dia nak, dia beli je. But for Liverpool, it's more calculated. I mean, when they sold Coutinho, with the amount that they received, they strengthen it well, and it's not just good players. They have established youngsters, and I appreciate what Liverpool has done. And then for the past years, from tak dapat menang apa-apa, and then they're just winning everything, and then they are very solid. One of the best things in Europe currently. So I appreciate what Liverpool has done as compared to City or even Chelsea. I'm not going to speak about Arsenal. Tak payahlah, kan buang masa kan bawa Arsenal kan. Buang masa betul. Okay, so from RSC to Anfield almost like ini boleh jadi mantap. Kena letak macam this is Anfield dekat tempat baru. Okay, so the point was that so here's where we at. We need to evacuate. Okay, dramatic sangat word tu kan. We need to evacuate from Tai Seng before the 15th or by the 15th. Okay, the problem is that we still haven't yet found a place. Now, the reason being is that kita belum ada jumpa tempat yang sesuai. That's it. We do not want to make harsh or rash decisions. Apa-apa tempat yang ada, because we were offered a place. But the circumstances were not viable. Dia tak tune lah. So you see macam we see a lot of red flags with that current offer. Dia betul yang the offer we get was the Quiet punya tempat lama. If you know Quiet, right? One Habit. That building, we were actually offered the second. There were negotiations going around with ourselves and Quiet, but itulah dia macam tak ada jodoh. There were a lot of red flags. The agent also offered us sebelah. There is a building, three levels currently under construction, will be available on the market I think around August, but they are offering us I think around 14k, which tak mampu. Kita memang tak macam dulu, kita tak ada duit. Kita dah tak ada duit. Okay, so we are looking for a space in Pahang Street which is conducive to run classes and also good event space. That's our current focus. Kita tak boleh kelang kabut and take any offer given to us just because we are desperate. So what we are currently at is that kita akan cari, okay, kalaulah kita tak jumpa tempat by June, what we plan to do is just find or sewa, rent out a storage space. Kan people have storage spaces kan. So we put our stuff at storage spaces and then we still run classes online. Maksudnya remotely lah. So Ustaz Taufik will run his classes from his place. Kalau if you get our asatiza, Ustaz Faizuddin ada kat sini tak? I kena cakap dengan dia pasal classes ni, belum lagi cakap lagi pasal classes. I mean, if we could negotiate a way around, is that we get the asatizahs to run the classes from their places, from their homes, okay, and then barang kita letak dekat store until we find a proper place. That's the current plan. Kalau lah, na'uzubillah min zalik, kalau tak jumpa by 15 June, but I mean realistically pun susah juga nak jumpa 15 June. So that's the current situation. If anybody is interested to know about the academy, so we are currently looking for a space, and ni memang dire tau, ni memang dah darurat, because memang tempat kita dah kena lepas. You have to let go of place, so we need to find a space. And then also we need to understand that the academy currently pun dah very downsized due to financial constraints. So for those of you are here, we need your help lah. Siapa-siapa yang boleh tolong, I mean any form of assistance is highly appreciated. We really appreciate that, as kita punya dream is again to naikkan kembali academy as it was before, and we feel that is imperative to what we do. Ni pun apa cat, ni waffle. Ni waffle dia kat mana kita ada, kat mana dia nak ikut. Ni apa, dia ustaz ni ada janggut. Janggut ni ustaz ni, syekh ni. Baik. Syekh waffle. Okay, right, so that's it. Okay, so I hope everybody is, up to speed regards to the academy. Initially, aku punya plan was that kita idea was that wanted to do this under the academy punya nama. My plan was AQATV punya YouTube. Kita nak memeriahkan the YouTube. We wanted to do more YouTube-ish programs, videos, right? Live streams. We like macam small, I would say macam apa? Mini series macam gitulah. But again, mobile. Yeah. Don't pitch up my keyboard. You want go where? Macam sit there. Okay, sit there. You don't drink my air. Bismillah. Nak memeriahkan lah. But tak tahulah, kadang-kadang tu macam aku ni kadang tak ada mood. Seriously. Aku ni memang orangnya ada masalah mental sikit. I have, what do you call it? Imposter syndrome. I'm not confident with macam mana nak buat. Okay, cakap I told my wife tu satu. Okay, I wanted to do a live stream under nama AQATV lah. Kita buat macam ni, very casual, talk show style, podcast style punya ni, where we talk about issues revolving around the academy. Issues revolving around the academy. Kan? Because usually our topics are quite content heavy, so I wanted a bit more casual. Right. So that was the plan. But itulah, tengoklah macam. So this is just my own platform. So whatever I could share within kita punya, within the realms of, within the capacity of what is permissible lah. Ada benda PNC tak boleh share kan. But tak apalah, yang benda-benda gini, so maybe it's quite general and people need to know. Right. So I will share. So this is just, aku punya live stream ni tak tahu apa nak buat apa. There's no topic, there's no theme. Okay, if you have anything that you want to share, so kita boleh be a bit more substantial, a bit more focused with regards to the live stream, silakan. I actually plan to do twice a week or once a week, right? And then random topics. Macam wanted to, next week insyaAllah, kasih pada kat sini kan, I wanted to cakap pasal my new camera. I wanted to talk about cameras and photography. I wanted to talk about shows on Netflix and certain things that I wanted to, ada benda-benda gini-gini lah. I mean social commentary or what is happening, blah blah blah. Maybe we could do that lah. But for now, bear with me my randomness. Randomness ni dalam bahasa Arab ni ashwa'i, and I love that word. Ashwa'i. Random. And jazakillah khair, Akila, I'll be service. And I hope anybody yang kat sini pun memang, I know all of you personally here, and I know all of you here has sacrificed a lot for the academy. You have serviced a lot for the academy, and I couldn't ask for anything more. Seriously. As far Hasif, anybody who's here, Hide, or no, so I mean, you can see kat sini. I mean, personally, I've known that you have done so much for the academy. I couldn't ask for more. So macam paisi tau, kadang-kadang macam gini, kita cakap, tolong academy, but you guys yang kasih semua lah yang paling banyak tolong academy kan. Right, so, but itulah. But I think it's also you are also eligible to know what is going on with the academy. So I feel it's my responsibility to share. Okay. Watch talk. Itulah. Football is one of them. I cakap dengan Asfah hari tu, ada tak a good podcast dekat Singapore yang talk about football? And watch memang tak ada lah kat Singapore. I mean, although Singapore is a hub, I mean, you have a lot of established watch, I would say, stores, Revolution, banyak, Waiko, most of them were, most of Seiko, even they have factory in Singapore. Some of their watches are manufactured in Singapore. Sama dengan photography, I mean, Leica, one of their factories kat Singapore. Singapore is known to be one of the earliest hubs for street photography. So these are things that, I mean, but Singaporeans jarang. I mean, we don't talk about benda-benda macam gini kan. Jarang orang talk about jam, jarang orang talk about photography in Singapore from a Singaporean punya context, simply because it does not sell. People don't talk about benda-benda gini online because they don't sell. People want to talk about things that only sell, because Singapore is all about making money kan. So passion projects kan, benda-benda yang very people passionate about to talk about, generally we don't talk about in public simply because you don't gain any traction. That's why if you look macam Singapore punya YouTube pages macam Wah Banana ke apa-apa, even Singaporean podcast, we talk about things that generally affect us, and there's an attraction to it as Singaporeans. But whereby niche topics, passion topics memang susah sikit lah. Okay, so with that I want to say thank you. Dah lama sangat ni, dah 1 jam lebih. Tak boleh. Biasanya FC ni setengah jam je, 40 minit. Dah 1 jam dah lebih ni. Okay, so I would like to take this opportunity to say thanks Terima kasih, jazakumullah khairal jazak kepada to each and every one of you who has joined me daripada tadi pukul 8 sampai pukul 9. Thank you so much for joining. And I ask and plead from each and every one of you I think to make doa for, first and foremost, untuk akademi lah. Untuk akademi, we are trying our very best to survive. Itulah, that's it. Just trying our very best to survive. Kalau survive, alhamdulillah. Kalau tak, macam mana pun, still alhamdulillah, because agama, I mean the religion of God will continue. The knowledge will still prosper regardless kita ada ke tak ada. That's it. Kita cuba tolong aja. Kalau ada, kita tolong. Kalau tak ada pun, orang lain akan tolong. And that has been the case. I always say that lah. Not because aku ada ke tak ada, academy ada ke tak ada, dia ada ke tak ada. That's not the rule. The rule is that kalau tak ada, Allah akan gantikan dengan benda yang sama ataupun yang lebih baik. Okay, and that is how dakwah will be to the end of time. It's not about, there's nothing to be egoistical about. Right? So first and foremost, doa for us that we are still being blessed. Okay, to continue to do what we do. And secondarily lah, doa for myself and sis Nakia. I think kesihatan ni kita okay lah. Nanti malam nak tidur je. Rabak. Kelakar dulu kalau orang kena COVID, orang takut kan, ni confirm ni na'udzubillah ni boleh mati. Ni kan COVID initially was considered to be a disease that is, what's the word, I want to use the word deadly is not a correct term for it. That is considered to be use the word deadly for now lah. Kan orang takut. Sekarang macam kau belum dapat COVID bila dah dapat COVID ni? Aku baru dapat COVID ni. Aku punya family semua dah kena COVID. Aku je belum. Macam FOMO kan. Macam siapa yang tak kena COVID, kirakan dia dah missing out kan. So everybody kena COVID. Kesian kucing-kucing ni je ni Wopel ni. Aku takut. But I mean studies have proven that it could be transmitted to animals. But as of recent, domestic animals belum lagi ada news. So but we are just being a bit cautious lah. Okay. So doakan for myself and Sis Nakia. And I will also like to make dua to each and every one of you who has been here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of you barakah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of you afiyah, wellness and well-being. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of our deeds kan. Kita masih bulan Syawal, masih dalam bulan yang banyak barakah. I mean, yes, this continuous barakah. From Ramadan towards all the way towards Syawal, insyaAllah. So with that, I end. Okay, thank you so much. Ada siapa-siapa nak cakap apa-apa lagi, nak komen, thank you so much. Bagusnya 11 orang, tapi still engaging lah. I mean I really appreciate this lah. Terharu sangat lah. Walau 11 orang, tapi still the engagement level is very high. I mean tadi the highest was 13. Okay lah, what do you expect? Siapalah aku nak ada banyak sangat orang tengok ni je lah. Okay lah, alhamdulillah, right? Okay, with that, thank you so much. We see all of you, kalau boleh lah next week, InsyaAllah next week kita boleh cakap pasal, I want to talk about kamera. Kau siapa minat, I want to talk about adalah benda-benda lain, nanti lah kita cakap lah. Alright, okay, thank you so much. Hope to see you again. Thank you. With that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye. Bye semua. Bye-bye Wafel. Wafel say bye-bye. Where's Wafel? Wafel? Udah keluar. Awesome betul. Bye. Bye semua. Okay. See you guys. Bye.